Okay, I'm back. Um, I'll have to put up a deal that anybody want to join the rest of this will have to get on the next what you call it, YouTube video. All right. Um, let's see here. Okay, so as far as the first part of this session, I hope you're understanding that we do need to understand why we were led to believe what we believed about the foot, why it's wrong, how people get convinced that they're doing the right thing when in reality they're doing the wrong thing. See, now eventually I want to put together some visuals that you can just put a picture up in front of somebody's face and say, okay, you see this and you see this. Now, what do you think about that? And what do you think about that? And what about this? And what about that? That can lead people to a visual understanding of how what we have been led to do to our horse's feet is not the correct thing. All right. All right, so we're going to go to Facebook. And there's a gal that wanted me to look at her horse's feet, that I said I would look at her horse's feet and we would do an evaluation on them. I had to look at my mic to make sure that I was I wasn't muted. Let's see. It's hard to try and do two things at the same time, to try and talk and look for what I need to look for. So I'm going to be a little silent here for a second.
Are you recording, Linda?
Yes, it's on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for reminding me.
No problem.
Because I've been known to do that. You know what I mean?
No.
Let's see here. Oh, no. Okay, let's see. Let's get on Facebook. And get in. Oops. Amanda. Are you here, Amanda? Amanda?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm at work. I got my earbuds in, so.
Okay, great. Okay.
But yep, I'm here.
Let's see here. And I'm going to share here in just a second. Okay, new share. Alrighty then. Okay, so Amanda, can you talk or do you have to kind of stay silent?
No, I can talk. I can
Okay.
talk. It just I may mute it if somebody walks in the office and starts talking to me.
Okay.
So, but no, I can talk.
Okay, we'll perfectly understand. Would you mind giving us a little bit of your background on this horse and how you came to find us and that kind of stuff?
Okay, so I've owned him since birth. I own his mother. His mother's 26 years old this year. Never had any issues, hoof issues, leg issues, anything. And Millhouse here was diagnosed as navicular as a 5-year-old. And
oh, wow.
And he's now 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried everything from different types of shoes to pads. He's had PLRs on, and nothing has seemed to make this horse comfortable. His most comfortable was when we've always had his shoes off,
Mm-hmm.
but different times a year, sometimes he'd be better, sometimes he'd be ouchy, but we've slowly on this path, and I've just been looking and looking and looking. I'm like, there's got to be something out there to help make this horse better, help him make him more comfortable. And, and he is just a wonderful horse. He's, as some people would say, he'd be, like my unicorn, because he has the most amazing personality, wants to please, will do whatever. And he was a stallion up until he was 7 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And I gelded him because, I was told, hey, this horse is navicular. He's got these problems, and I've got x-rays where it shows deterioration of the navicular bone, but like I had him just kind of trying to move forward to the tact type, trying to get to the trimming, trying to get to where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I even rode him last fall. We went on a trail ride barefoot, and I was actually riding with a vet, and he's an old school vet. And he says, what do you mean that horse is navicular? He goes, navicular horses don't move out like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I've got proof in x-rays, but, and him and I started, and he actually grew up in Tennessee, or in Kentucky and Tennessee area. And him and I were kind of talking about, past farrier work and the current work that farriers are doing now. And even like some of the stuff he used to say is like, even some of the farriers now that they leave a lot of dead sole. They leave a lot of, bad frog material.
Yeah.
And he's saying, he goes, I never used to see that growing up, because he grew up in Kentucky and he had farriers that worked on racehorses, and, and even the same, even in all his years, he says, even the people out here, because we're in Oregon, he says they don't trim horses like they should be trimming them, and this is coming from a vet.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of trying to do this myself, and it's been a struggle, but here is kind of where we are today, are these
Mm-hmm.
pictures. So I'm hoping that they look a little bit better than the first ones that I sent you, but trying to gradually open things for him to make him more comfortable, and trying to do it slow, because all of that material on the back of his hoof there, it is hard.
Yeah.
It's just solid.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was interesting what you said about how the vet said that farriers didn't used to leave all that dead material.
Yeah.
But see, that's also part of the so-called barefoot movement. All right. This is actually what they teach, that you shouldn't trim that, and that what you want is a hard, dead, calloused frog.
Yeah.
And
Even I have another mare. I wish I would have taken pictures of her, because I started doing her as well. And like last fall, the farrier had left. He left the sole, he left the frog, and everything was so hard
Mm-hmm.
and compact. And I noticed she was kind of limping, and I'm like, what is going on here? So I went in there and cleaned all that material out, and it was 100% different for her.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
Makes sense, because her foot could expand a little, and what happens is, see, it's pretty, like, when you understand what happened to that wild horse's foot, how she wore her heels out as she did all this cartilage. Here, let me annotate just on your horse's foot here. All this cartilage up here. Let me get a different color, just a minute, clear, so we can see. Okay, so all this cartilage up here gets pulled down like this. And as it does so, everything under here, the frog corium, all of it, it's also getting shoved up this way. And as that happens, the frog is being deformed. It's growing from a different position, things like that. And it gets hard and calloused, and it holds the foot. And in some ways it's good, because it's everything is holding, the periopal, everything is holding, trying to keep the hoof capsule from coming off, because you're destroying on the shape of the foot, which is in the capsule right here, well, that looks, my drawing leaves to be desired. The heel, the internal heel, like you have the coronary band, if this was a foot that was unbound, which it's not, it would have a heel that was shaped like that. See, this would be kind of like that. So there's your coronary band that grows your hoof capsule. This would grow your heel buttress right here. See, that'd be a nice strong heel buttress, but this is not what's going on with this foot. But you see, you have this heel here on a foot. And as all this cartilage and the heels are trimmed out slowly, and this is all pulled down and underneath and shoved forward, this heel right here, internal heel, this is the physical heel, is shoved up into the foot like that. And then you develop a capsule here that has no depth. See this wall would be holding on to the foot right here. There'd be a lot of good connection, but when this is flattened out like that, you have a capsule with no depth or no connection right here. And so this periopal and this frog all tends to harden up and hold the capsule on the foot. But you think of it, all this cartilage is shoved under there, and you can see why a horse would get navicular, because this digital cushion that's in here, when that pastern descends, it pushes on this digital cushion here and shoves it in that way right up under that navicular bone and that deep digital flexor tendon. It just compresses and pushes all that fatty tissue up under there so that it's a cushion. A cushion. That's why it's called the digital cushion. And so there's no connection here anymore, and that's all holding the foot, and it's all bound under there too. And of course, you said, now when was she uncomfortable? Would it be in the dry season or the wet season?
Used to be both, but even as he is now, he's actually pretty sound and pretty happy.
Well,
he's not lame right now.
That's good. His feet, I mean, you've done a good job. Have you been trimming?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's a nice looking job, I'll tell you that. Okay. But we're going to look and see where his feet are at exactly now. How much of this cartilage here is bound down under here? Still, what can be done to probably help that? Obviously, you are helping him by doing a slow release. You know what I'm saying? Is that what you've been working on?
Yes.
Okay. See, and that's the right thing to do.
And see, I didn't know how much, when you look at the bottom, how much I should be taking off. Cause like I said, where the heel is at, and then the bar material, his bar material used to stretch from pretty much the very back of his frog all the way to the tip.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be. And his frogs were a lot more pinched. I've just been gradually trying to open that slowly on each side.
Okay, well, obviously that's helping him out, because you said, and the vet said he's moving well. See, which is amazing that their feet can endure as much as they can and still be sound, So whatever you've been doing has been helping and stuff. We're going to look here though, and I'm going to tell you exactly where his feet are at, and where they need to go to eventually for all this to unbind. Okay, so earlier we were talking about, see, this works out really good because we're going to kill two birds with one stone here, because who was asking, if I forget who asked when, what, where, who was asking earlier about what's the back of the foot look like when it's all expanded, and it makes you think that it's doing good when it's really just because the heel's been trimmed out and the foot is pulled under? Who was
No,
that?
that was me. That's Meg.
Okay, Meg. Well, this is a perfect example.
Well, Yahoo.
Yeah. Okay. See how thick this looks here? Oh, wait. Do I have this right? Just a second. Let me reshare. New share. Stop share. More screen. Okay. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Back to
Yep.
the foot here. Okay. You see how full this looks in here?
Yep.
Okay. That's because it's all pulled down and under. You see, I'm going to show you in a different program today so that maybe people will get it more. Okay, you see this area right here? Let me annotate a second here. See this area right here? This is actually the frog stay that belongs up here. Okay, when the heels are trimmed out and the back of this foot is pulled down and shoved up into here, it actually strips out the true frog. It pulls all this periopal down and under. And this area here is the area between the bulbs that should be up here. I was sharing last week how this area is supposed to be vertical up behind the foot. And what happens is it all gets pulled down underneath the foot. And the whole thing takes on the shape of a diamond kind of shape. And they call that the central sulcus. When in reality, it's deformed. You have part of the sulcus of the inner foot that is horizontal under the foot and part that is up behind it. Let's look here real quick, just a minute. Again, we want to look at the back of a foot so we know what that's supposed to look like. Just a minute here. Let's undo that. New share. Okay, so here's the back of the foot. This part here, let me do the annotate. This part of the foot here, that's supposed to be high up between the bulbs. This part is up behind the foot. This part, it turns in an L-like shape, is underneath the foot. And this here is the central sulcus of the frog corium. Then, when it grows a big, thick lump of frog in there, the whole thing becomes the frog stay. And it works like a mortise and a tenon. Okay? Mortise and tenon. Does anybody know what that is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so if you don't, you can look that up. So this would be, I forget which is which. Which one's the part that sticks in? Is that the mortise or the tenon? I can't remember. But anyway, so the frog fits in there and then that thing just stays together and right where it's at. All right. It supports the whole back of the foot. So let's see here. New share. Here we go. So in this case, this should have been up here, but it's been pulled down underneath the foot like this, and the whole thing's laying vertical underneath the foot. Now, since that's all cartilage and fat, I mean, I can do it with my hand when I got a soft foot with the hoof capsule off. I could just, because all this, the heel buttresses and the frog and everything, it's all meant to support and stabilize the back of that foot that can be moved in many different directions and positions without the proper configuration of the frog and the heels and the whole shebang there. Oh, just a second here. Okay, so see, who was I talking to? I think it was Janet, about how people need to see really more of a 3D model of this to understand how this works. Because we're seeing everything in 2D. Oh, just a minute. I may have to take little mute breaks here. Just a minute. Because my cold has decided to turn into full-blown bronchitis. You know, that kind that you get when you're talking and then you want to go into coughing up a lung or something. So I really don't want to affect you with that. What?
Sorry, this is Alana.
Oh, that's okay.
Do you have a hoof of the same angle that has everything healthy and correct so we can compare, or you don't?
Yeah.
Because I just want to send one picture. I will send it to your messenger.
Okay.
And would it be the case, or at least close?
Okay.
But it's a trimmed hoof. So
okay. Yeah, I'd like to see.
Maybe I find the one that is not trimmed.
Yeah, I'd like to see for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got Chester. You know that Bracy Clark. Okay, how many horses do you think were around in London in the 1800s?
A bazillion.
Yeah, he never in his life saw a correct foot. How about that? But he thought he saw one. Okay, and it was on a mare of a client of his that they allowed purposely to run free for 5 years before catching her and putting her into service. And then he purposely had her shod with the traditional shoeing and showed how it contracted her feet. And the way that he did that, he took plaster casts of the foot at each trim. See what we got going? We have photos that show all this. We can prove this. Everything I'm saying is documented with hundreds of thousands of photos. At least 100,000 of my own. And that's no exaggeration. Okay, 18 years taking pictures of every single trim before and after. It adds up. All right. And so, let alone others of you who've been doing this for a long time, you know, you have files and files and files of photos. See, all this is provable. Okay. These feet, it do exactly what I've been saying here. What was I going to look for? Oh, okay. I get distracted. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to show you the back of Chester's foot, what it looks like, and I'll show you the back of Valor's foot, which is close. Just a minute. Chester. Okay. Okay. Come here, Chester. Where are you? Okay. Okay, I'll start with this one. New share. Okay, let's see here. Now, he had gone 9 months when I trimmed him this time. Okay, I trimmed him 3 times before And then through a set of circumstances, he went 9 months. So his hoof capsule was being pulled off his foot. See that? And so I come in there and trimmed him, and I took out everything that had grown in between the in the central sulcus here and stuff. He still had excellent feet. This is kind of what it looked like from the back right here. Okay, now let me go back this way. This is what it looked like going for 9 months. And you can see how long his hoof capsule is there, right? Do you see how the bulb skin stretched? Okay. Do you see how the periopal went to work to try and hold the foot on? You know, see, it's trying to hold the capsule on is what's going on here. Here is just an example. I think this is a simulation of a foot I did. Let's see. Okay. Now this was before, and I trimmed it, and you saw how I trimmed that out. Okay, but his foot had not been had this stuff in it for a long time, like some of them do. Like he didn't have a reduced size capsule, so I could go in and I could take that out like that. You might not be able to just do something like that on a horse whose capsules are not grown enough for the foot to be released into. That's a bad deal. If you just go trimming periopal haphazard, and I mean, it has to be gradual and controlled. And we have to watch the hoof growth. We want to release the foot, but we don't want to do it in such a manner that, because this is all meant to bind and hold that foot together and keep it from falling apart as the heels were being trimmed out or as the foot got long and collapsed forward. So you want to do a control. Now, so this is before, and this is 5 weeks after post trim. So let me show you again. This is what I left with because I could, because he had that kind of a foot. You see how much capsule he's got there. See? Okay. And this is right here afterwards. This is what it looks like behind here. Okay. Now, if you look here, just a minute, annotate. He's got frog that goes up here. Okay. Now this is right now is full. You see a little periopal here, but this is all frog. Okay. Let me get that other foot and we'll put them together and show them. Just a second here. Undo. Where am I at? Clear all drawings. I'm going to take a picture of, wait a minute, of this foot, and we're going to take that other foot. We're going to put them together to compare. Just a second here. Man, I got too much stuff going on here. Paste, and then I'll go get. I'm taking screenshots of these and I'm going to put them in Paint next to one another so you can see the difference. And then I'll also get that picture that was sent and we'll look at it. I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know what's going on there. Okay, just a second. Too much stuff going on, too many windows. See all this comparison, see? Oh yeah, you're gonna really see this. Wow. Okay, and we're also gonna say that now that we're looking, well, your foot is contracted and bound together too. Let's see here. New share. Okay. Okay, everybody see that? Okay, this is Chester's foot. 5 weeks post trim. So that area that I cleaned out here is, of course, now has some periopal growing over the back, but his frog is clear up in here. Okay, it would be, if I remove this periopal, we're going to see it clear up in here. Let me go get another picture of that foot here. Just a second here.
This is really awesome. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for sharing, because you just happened to have a foot that we were wanting to look at anyway. And plus, yeah, you can just see a whole difference once you start looking at Chester's foot. There's just such a difference in this horse. Let me go over to his foot again here, because we want to look at the truth. See, now look at the back of his foot here. Okay, see, it's full. Okay, that digital cushion, the frog is clear up here. You see it? Okay, on your horse's foot, it's all this been pulled under so that it's underneath the foot. And on almost every foot you see, that is what you're going to see. And a lot of times you'll see these drawings of what they think is just a perfect foot, and they'll have a diamond shape. Okay, for the so-called central sulcus, that's actually a deformation. That's actually all of this pulled down. Now, earlier we looked at the digital cushion, which is all in here. Okay, it's right here, but it's supported by the frog stay, which is right here. Just a minute here. Okay, so that frog, if you were to put your thumb right here, you would feel frog all through here. Now, granted, I took this part out because it had overdeveloped and been growing under the foot, because it was saying, oh, something's going on here. My hoof capsule's being pulled off. That's exactly what happened there. Same when you go to trim the heels out. Same thing. Whole back of the foot goes to work. Uh-oh. Better hold on to stuff. And so let's see here. So again, this is the vertical part of the sulcus that grows the frog between the bulbs to keep your heels from being contracted. Okay, and then it goes underneath, and that would be the horizontal part. That would be this part here. Okay, this is up behind the foot. And this is under the foot. And it's shaped like this. See? Well, not very good. Like that. Not just flat underneath the foot like so. Okay. Okay, so are you understanding more of that? Now, do you see how all this could be? Well, first of all, she's got contracted heels. So these heels are pulled in. Well, what's that do to all this digital cushion and everything in the foot? If it's not only contracted in this way, but it's also pulled all down, then it's like, I'm trying to think of something you could, oh, you know those stress balls that you can squeeze? They're all rubbery, and you squeeze it and it'll bulge out in another area. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? that's what you got here. You're squeezing it with the hoof capsule, so it's got to go somewhere. Let's see. Let me clear all drawing. I'm gonna go and okay. So look at the cartilage on his foot, how big it is. Okay, now again, his hoof capsule was being pulled off his foot because he hadn't been trimmed for 9 months due to a set of circumstances, which was first it was 4 months. I couldn't get over there. He was at my neighbor's house, but I just couldn't get over there to get it done. It was either sick or weather or this or that or the other. And then Sharon, who bought him from my neighbor, she was moving here and she had moved here. And then the guy, my neighbor said, oh, well, we're going to, the day I was going to go over and trim him, he said, oh, we're going to take him up to Sharon. I was like, oh no, oh, his feet are going to be so deformed and all this. And then I couldn't get up there to help her with him for another 4 months. So that's what it looked like. Okay. Just a minute here. So you see how he's pulling his hoof capsule off? Okay. And what happens? The bulb skin stretches. All right. So I took all that out. Well, it grew all this. See that? Okay, so took that out. Let's see if we can find his. Okay, so this is the way I left his foot, and this is 5 weeks later. You see how his foot, the wall grew back on, and the foot slipped into the capsule. And so, just a second. And so when we look at these feet, I would look here always first. I would always look at the cartilage first, because if it isn't similar to this, it's just deformed and distorted and pulled under the foot or wrapped up in behind it. So, okay, we're going to go back to your horse's feet now. Dang, I thought I had that muted. I'm really sorry, people. I told you I had bronchitis going here. That was disgusting. That was a bummer. Egg. I'm gonna have to go to the doctor. Okay, let me find where I'm at now. We're gonna go through your horse feet. Here we are. New share. Okay. Okay, so let's keep looking at the pictures here. Okay, so that's looking down. Okay, first of all, like I said, I immediately, when I look at these feet, I know that the cartilages are pulled down under the foot just from, and whenever you're going to evaluate a foot, okay, well, first, of course, you have to know what the true cartilage looks like, right? And so whenever you're going to evaluate a foot, go here first. Otherwise, you're going to get deceived, because the bottom of the foot can look all tidy and nice and right and everything like that. But if you don't see full cartilages the way they're supposed to be, you know that you have the heels are trimmed out somewhere, some way, somehow. You could even have what looks to be healed, heels, but you're still going to have hoof distortion. This is what we are trying to expand and get to really move out. So I can tell by looking right here immediately, the second I saw these feet. Okay, I know there's still foot binding going on. So I'm going to see all of the signs. Just a minute here. How come I can't see how to move this? Oh, there we go. Okay. Right away, I look here and I already know. I can tell by looking at the sides of the foot, because you remember when we started this and I was showing you what the wild model, barefoot model does, how it gets pulled down at the back. And so all the horn tubules are growing at more of an angle, and that's going to eventually push all these horn tubules here forward, clear up into here. Well, that's what you got going here. Of course, in the foot, your bars, the bar corium's back here. See, this has been pulled under. Look here. See that? That's supposed to be up behind the foot. That is the top where the frog stay should be, up behind the foot. But where are we seeing it here? You see, we're seeing it underneath the foot. Remember the diamond shape? How many? Who else seen pictures of feet drawn, or even nice trimmed out frogs, and it looks like a diamond here? See, usually that's because the whole back is pulled under. Now, look here. Wait a minute. Where are we at? I'm looking for my annotate. There we go. Okay. See the diamond? They call that the central sulcus. Well, no, it's deformed. You see this skin here? That's periopal skin. That's bulb skin. That should be up here, not down there. And this here, this area here, this should be up behind the foot. Well, the one good thing about getting sick and getting bronchitis is that I can go to the doctor and get prednisone, the youth drug. And then I'll take that prednisone, which will get rid of this. And I'm going to feel like I'm about 20 years younger for about a month. So looking forward to that. Okay, so let's move this. Okay, so as I said, see how the bars are bent? Like that? Because see, all the back of this foot is pulled underneath. Again, this is the top of your frog stay that should be up behind the foot. But you're doing a good job trimming. Make sure I got my mic on there. You're doing a good job trimming. You're doing a very good job. I want you to know that. You're doing a good job trimming the frog, things like that. One thing you need to do is you trim these bars just a little different, okay? So that they're not curved like this, so that they're more like that, taking that part off there, so that these bars will release the heels more.
Okay, so do I need to make like still open that up in the back a little bit? Because I mean, as you can see on that one side where it looks like, I mean, I've got the hoof boss, and I mean, and that's what I've had to take, because he that material in there was so hard.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried about taking too much. But
yeah.
do I still need to open that a bit more?
Well, for now, I would just stay the course on it. Okay, wait and do these bars first. Okay, because and let me look at this some more. Because I mean, because your foot is also already contracted. We don't want to take out something and have it contract. I think you need to grow in more sidewall and release this area a little slower first. Okay. And then do that. Like allow some of this to grow in a little more first back here. I mean, keep it trimmed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But not to fully like strip it out yet.
Yeah. Well, and this
Okay.
horse, this is actually probably the first year and probably most of his life that he's even had somewhat of a developed frog. I mean, they were always, it was
good.
always just shriveled up and absolutely nothing there.
Well, that see,
You know.
that's good because it probably wasn't real frog. Okay.
Yeah.
It could have been periopal, just decide to grow over the whole thing. Because
Well,
that
it
happens
was-
too.
It was always super hard,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and now it's got some pliability to it to
Mhm.
where, you know,
Good.
all of that was just
Yeah.
hard material.
And so that'll gradually change. Okay. As the foot is also now, I would trim some more of this out. I would clean this out in here just a little more. Don't trim too much periopal off of the sides of the foot. And in fact, whoever's intact and been doing this a while and stuff like that, I really kind of want to change that protocol that we did not over trim the periopal here on the sides of the heels, because there's something I've been learning the last few years, and that is, okay, you can trim more of this up and start getting the frog growing more. You know, don't overdo the central sulcus because you don't want your heels to contract, because whatever there is now is keeping your heels from contracting anymore. But kind of get that frog growing more and get this loosened up and be growing in this heel here because it's adding sidewall into this area of the foot. Okay. Now you don't want this to be totally thick and overgrown either, but you don't want to over trim this, in my opinion. Okay. Let me explain.
Linda, can you
What?
say why? What will happen if you do?
Because the whole foot is compressed into a smaller capsule in the back and being bound in there. And if you unbind it too fast and it just releases, well, that'd be like kind of tearing yourself out of your fingernail. Do you understand what I'm saying? It needs heel to grow in, heel and expand and release and come out gradually. Because it's compressed into a smaller capsule. And since it grows its capsule, if your heels all pop out, well, then, you know, there's no heel on your horse's inner heel, and it'd kind of make a mess.
Linda, maybe I can send one picture, because you remember during the last call we were talking last week, and I said I had I think he was like 2 years old, and when I just started following you, I trimmed the periopal quite aggressively, and then we had wet weather, and the hoof started to migrate.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
So-
I'll just send so maybe people can see what could happen, because
Okay,
that's an example.
okay, yeah, that'd be great. Let's see.
Linda, while you were talking about why you don't want to release that too fast, I got this image in my mind. It may help other people, or maybe I'll just sound crazier than I already am.
We all are.
Yes, exactly. But I got the idea of an envelope, a regular envelope, like you'd send a letter in, you know, the white envelope with the point in the back. And if it's overfilled and the glue gives out, your stuff spills out.
Yeah.
And you have to, if you want to keep that same volume of stuff in there, you got to use some tape or something so that it all stays in there.
Yeah.
and it kind of felt like the back of the foot was going to fall out, blow out the back because the glue gave out, and that
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just gonna, it's not gonna keep everything the way it needed to go. So
Yeah.
maybe that's helpful.
That is helpful. And you know, anybody, if you can try and think of examples like, okay, also when I take a hoof capsule off, all right, you know, the horse is dead. If I took the hoof capsule off, you take it off like a shoe, so the heels come out first. If the heels came out, or if you broke your heels off, it'd be a bloody mess, right? You know, and so you'd have old heel stuck on there with nothing growing it anymore, and then you have the heel sticking out the back. They're going to start growing new heel, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here, oh, what do we see here on the bottom of the foot? Can somebody tell me what that looks like?
A diamond.
And
That's right. It's a diamond.
Yeah, I just sent you the other deformed one.
Okay. Okay, and so so is this before you trimmed it?
This one is before trim, yeah.
Okay.
But
Go ahead. Did you have something you wanted to
this
say?
is not the horse that I mentioned. This is the recent one, but I just sent you a couple of pictures from, I don't know.
Okay. I'll go right to them, but do you notice how
2001.
okay.
Yeah, the last ones.
Do you notice how on this is the same thing going on as I said that was going on the other horse? See? Look at the
Yeah, the
diamond,
diamond.
look at the bulbs
Yeah.
pulled under. Look at the bars are they look kind of straight, but they're actually bent. Okay, there's a dirt line there. So that shows me that they've grown up and gone over the sole. They're faking you out. They're fake bars. See? Okay. So I'm gonna go find these pictures that
So if you scroll, yeah, these ones.
oh, can you see
So-
it when I'm doing that? There we go. Okay.
And if you like see the dorsal shot, there is another one. It happened basically after I started to trim the periople. Really, I just took all the periople off, and that's what happened. Kind
Okay.
of thing.
Where is it?
This is not the yeah, this one, these two.
Just a second here.
Yeah, the last two pictures.
The one you can see in forward picture.
Yes, this one. Mm-hmm. This
Okay.
one and the one that from the front. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you feel? What do you feel about it when you're looking at this one here?
Well, this is the one he has false concavity, this horse, and this is the first horse how I found you, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So what I see, it's the whole capsule has been sucked in,
Yeah.
like all the structures, and it's just very unstable,
Mm-hmm.
a very unstable hoof, and it
Yeah.
kind of can't hold itself anymore.
Yeah, I see that
And-
there. Like,
Yeah, and
'cause-
I was so perplexed because in our area everybody has flat feet, or what they call, there is no concavity on the horses because we have deep sand, and I was so happy that my young horse has concavity.
yeah, but it
Yeah.
was the false concavity, huh?
Yeah, but I trimmed his heels off when he was a baby, like months old, because we were told that you have to take the heels down as
Mhm.
much as you can,
Yeah.
as early as you can,
Yeah, that's just bad, huh?
because the horses are born with underslung heels,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to correct them.
Yeah, see, I knew this was happening.
I have a picture how I'm trimming him actually, and it's something, you know, when I look at it now, it really gives me really bad feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
see it. Well, see, let me show a picture here of that one horse I did the dissection on, where I show the coffin bone is actually at a positive angle, but that I've been trimming his heels out for a while. Let me show
And I
you.
can send you the caudal picture, and you can see how it just sucked in, because kind of you see what you can what can be mistaken for the frog stay. But if you look at the cartilages, they're so high up and pushed up that it's
Okay.
not that.
Okay. Yeah, send another picture.
I sent already. Yeah,
And
the
I'm
back.
gonna find this other picture. Just a minute here. If I can. Ah, there you are, you booger. To show exactly what she's talking about here.
And
how-
that's why I think it's important to, sorry, I interrupt you. It's important what you are saying. You have to look at cartilages, coronary band, horn tubules, because sometimes you look at, the frog stay, and there will be like a frog stay, but it's a frog that has been sucked into the capsule and pushing the bulbs up,
yes.
creating, this like ice cream cone kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, see, and I have a picture of that on here, which is that horse I was trimming. Now, I know now that the horse I had been trimming for 8 months that the lady had put down due to colic, that this horse had perfect feet when I started trimming him. But I was taking the heels down gradually, and it was pulling the whole back of the foot under. Just a second.
And the other thing on the colic, I think, in my opinion, can happen if the hoofs have been really trimmed into small capsule.
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes sense, because if it's pain and it's not stop pain, it
Yeah.
will induce the colic. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
I'm not beyond thinking that I couldn't trim a horse into that and kill it, because I know that can happen. But in this case, it was the vet's fault, because the vet gave him a shot of liquid ivermectin, which that's why they tell you not to do that. And he had some weird die-off thing that totally just destroyed his intestines, and
Well,
to where he's puking blood, which horses don't puke, right? But in this case, and so they had to put him down, and I got the feet, but I remember everything about his feet. Okay, I remember how I was trimming them. I remember trims I did, and then I remember during the dissection that, okay, when I took his foot off, this was how his foot was shaped. I set it in salt and borax for a couple days, and it returned, the cartilage returned up, but I didn't know that, because I didn't know none of this was going on. And so I took this picture here, and this picture here, okay? And then years later, after I'm starting to understand this stuff of what's going on with the cartilage and things, I'm looking at it, because what happened was, okay, so I took pictures when I took the capsule off, and it was like this. Then a few days later, I took some more pictures, and I thought, I'm going to put the frog, which I'd had separated, I'm going to put the frog under the foot and take a picture. And I remember setting that foot on that frog and wondering why it didn't fit. See? And it was because this is the way the frog grew and the way it was shaped when it was on the foot, when the cartilages were pulled down. But when the cartilages pulled back up, that frog would not fit it anymore. And something you can see, look at how the frog is bent upwards like that. Just a minute here. Where's my, just a second. We're talking about false concavity. See, so false concavity. So the frog is bent up into the foot like this. I mean, that was quite the frog that this horse had. And so what's happening is, now look over here. See how the heel is bent forward and it's, look, here's the back of your coronary band up here. Here's the coronary band. Okay, here's the coronary band here. Goes clear down and up like that. Okay, so the coronary band's bent clear down. That would mean the hoof capsule, instead of growing down like this, is now growing like this. Okay, and all this has been pulled under. The frog corium is in a totally different place. You know, your bars are under here, and your bars are right in here. Okay, so what's happening to them? They're being bent like this. But here's what's happening right here. The heels are being pushed up like that. See that? So what's that going to do? It's going to start, once all this gets pushed up in here, false concavity. See? In the frog and underneath the foot as well. So then, let's see. New share, annotate. Let me get out of here. Okay. So then if we go back to your foot, which is, let's see, right here, that's exactly what we're seeing. You see this part of the frog. Let's see, where's my annotate? Okay, you see this part of the frog right here? It's bent up into the foot like that. The bulbs are pulled under the foot. That should be up behind the foot, but it's underneath. And then you have the false frog sulcus diamond deal going on here. And right here, that frog is bent up into the foot. And right in here, you think you got concavity. Okay, but look over here, you got separation. See, and look over here, you got all this sole that's flaky all the time. And if you took it out, the whole heel would be hollow. And this is common. This is common on all these feet. That people talk about digging out the seed of the corn. Well, that's not even the seed of the corn, really. Your heels are buried under here and covered over by this hoof capsule that's been shoved over them right there. This here, just a minute. Okay, should be clear back here. But okay, here's another misinterpretation that they do. They think they are bringing the heels back, and when they bring them down, they bring them back to here, but they're just lowering them and making them worse. That's not what we do. We grow hoof capsule in at the top, and eventually this all keeps filling in here to where you have a true heel. That's kind of a mess I got there, but anyway, so now, so this was when you first started. Now what's the foot look like now?
Well, where you are.
Let's see. Yeah, see, false concavity. Why? Because they are forming, they've figured out, and one of the best, the most ingenious at figuring out how to deform the foot.
Linda, I'm not
look-
sure if you're seeing the right share.
Oh, just a minute here. Let me find it. Hold on. Oh, Is this it now? Let's, oh, well, hey, we're seeing something interesting here. Just a second here.
This is the same foot at the same time.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
meant. That how the bulbs are shoved.
Okay. Well, and I mean, you could see how difficult it could be to start reading some of these feet, but see, you see the bulbs pulled down under here. And this is just some periopal skin. It's not frog. Okay. So as the heels would fill in and as this hairline would be raised up to be higher up this way, but it can look similar because if we took this and then we took Chester's, let me get a picture of Chester's from the back next to this. Just a second here.
Linda,
Yeah.
may I can send you the picture of Dodo where the hairline is a little more up higher.
Okay.
The one from the back. You maybe you remember the last call.
Okay. That'd be
last week?
great.
I sent it on
gonna-
the. I'm sending it on the messenger.
Okay. I'm going to take and get a picture, 2 pictures here to compare them of this foot. Let's see here. Where are we at? Okay, there you are. Take a save image. Because you'll see, I mean, there's so much detail going on here, how to recognize and tell one thing from the other, you know. Okay, just a minute here. Hold on, just let me get these pictures together so we can look at
I sent you the.
chest. Okay,
Sorry, send you the pictures on the Tech Europe group messenger.
okay. Just a minute and I'll go there. I want to get these 2 pictures together because very interesting to compare the 2. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is interesting to say the least. Just a second here. Get you up there. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh, darn. Just a second here. Okay, just a second. And then we'll look at that, but I want you to see now the comparison. Okay, so here's Chester over here that shows you what it's really supposed to look like. Let's see. Let me get annotate here so I can draw a little bit. Okay, so this is a real anatomically correct foot where the frog is growing between the bulbs. Now, I have trimmed that out, of course, so you can see this gap, but his frog would be like this thick all during here, and you would be able to feel it up in here as well. And so what we have here is this is all pulled down and pulled under the foot, like the bulb skin's going to be underneath here, where his is up here. See, you can't see it much there. Here's the bulb skin. some of that may be frog, not sure here. Okay, and her bulb skin clear under here. Here's where her foot has been pulled down to, really clear down here. Probably right like that. This should be up here, like so. And then of course the heels are contracted as well. So interesting, don't you think? The comparison. Yet all the anatomical parts are still there, but everything's got a different configuration. His digital cushion, which is, well, the digital cushion goes clear up in here, around there.
Linda,
Yeah,
I have a question.
okay.
Where you say that the frog stay should be, where it is on Chester and where it is on the other foot, how can you look at that and determine that that's not frog stay? Like, how can, it looks similar, right?
Yeah, it does. Well,
So
I
how
mean,
do you know?
well, okay, it is, you mean this part here?
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, oh geez, how do I do that? Well, first of all, how to tell that? How to explain that to you? That's a good one.
May I have an idea?
Okay.
It's a different material from
Mhm.
my opinion. I guess it's a different material. I trimmed a lot different materials right now. So, and from my feeling, okay, I'm cutting through real frog. Okay, I know it because the knife is going through very well. And if
Mhm.
I cut through periopal, even if it's overgrown the frog, I know, okay, it's periopal because the knife is not going through very well. And for my opinion, I agree with you that it's not real frog stay. This is periopal because it looks like not the same material.
Yeah. Well, see, here's another thing too. It's what we're talking about is placement. Okay. Now you could have, all right, you could have real frog growing under here, but it's in the wrong place. The whole back of the foot, it's in the wrong place. The whole back of the cartilage and bulbs have been pulled under. I mean, you still got frog corium. You've still got an area. I can show you two different feet. One where the frog stay is in the correct spot. And that's really what it has to do with is not just the material. Now, yeah, sometimes this can become almost all periopal, but because it gets pulled under. But you can also have frog or what you might call frog stay growing there, but it's in the wrong position. This here has been pulled vertically under the, or horizontally under the foot. This part of the foot is up behind and where it's supposed to be. So if I show you in a picture, let's see, I gotta remember where that's at. Clear all drawings. Okay. Okay, just a second here, because I can show you in this dissection I did of these feet. If this will work right. Okay. I will try and show you. I will try. Okay, so share. Zoom share.
Linda, can I ask, it's Eleanor, regarding Chester's foot?
Mm-hmm.
Would, in respect to the cartilages, would you expect them to change so they're still kind of not normal at that picture?
On Chester's foot?
Yeah, when you did the comparison, so there was my foot from my horse and your horse. Just you swapped the picture now.
Well, if we were to look at a side view, there would be a distinct difference.
No, what I'm saying is with your foot, would you expect the cartilages to release more? Or,
Than where they're at already
yeah,
on Chester?
yes.
Well, in that picture, they did, or in that case, they did because they were being pulled down some. And so after 5 weeks, everything went back to where it was supposed to be.
Okay.
So you can see that in the side views, but I was just thinking too, see, you can't just look at one view. It's multiple views, and it always has to start with what's up above the hairline. So like, we'll come back to this foot, but this is another correct foot. Okay, now the back of this is covered with periopal. That's where it's supposed to be. Okay, on the very other side of it is frog. Frogs stay in the correct position because the foot is in the correct position. And so the frog corium is in the correct position. And so the frog grew in the correct position. So really, we're talking about position, not that there's no frog there. Okay. It's just that everything is out of position on a distorted foot that has had the heels over trimmed, that has pulled all this down underneath. That's what we're talking about. It could still be the right material. Although when things get out of position, stuff gets merged and one thing can be mistaken for another sometimes. So, but what I want to do is I want to look at a side view. We've got this picture here. Wait a minute. This picture here. What did I do? Get rid of that other words. Were you just looking at the picture I was showing? Oh, yeah. Okay. We've got this here. How do we tell the difference between this and this, right? I mean, you can tell why that might be confusing, obviously. Well, let's go look at, let's see. Did you send me a side view picture of this foot right here? Hello?
No, I didn't, but I will try to find it. It was quite a long time ago.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
just,
well, what horse is this that I'm looking at now? Is that Buddha?
no, this really long time. It's from 2001.
Oh, wow.
It's-
See, yeah.
Yeah, it's when I started talking with you, and you know, that's another horse. It's not Buddha. No.
Okay. What was the
Let's
name of this horse? Here.
This one, Igor.
Igor. Okay.
That was Igor. Yes.
Well, I would pronounce that Igor.
Igor.
Now I know.
Whatever.
Now I know. Potato, potato. Okay.
I just found it. Yeah.
Did you find
Well,
one?
I'm
Ha.
uh,
Again.
yeah, I found the pictures I'm sending to you now,
Oh, great. Awesome.
to your personal messenger.
Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Not sure which one is which,
Oh,
but
wow.
I'm just,
Well, just a second here. Just a second here.
I think
Okay.
this is the one. I think. Yeah.
Oh, yes. See this? Okay, so we're going to compare Chester's foot and the cartilage. And what I really need to do is show you some cartilage. Okay, so we're going to look at that right after this. Now, let's see here. Oh,
This is my first markup.
huh?
This is my first markup.
Oh, really? Well, you did an excellent job. Okay, just a second here. I need to check on something. Gosh. Okay, Amanda, is Amanda still here? Hello?
Yep, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to lose you there.
Nope, I'm still here.
Okay, I want you to know we will be going back to your horse once we go through all these explanations and lookings. Okay?
Okay.
Because all of this still applies to what you're doing and to your horse and to being able to read what's really going on.
Right.
Okay, so again, so the last question was, how do you tell the difference? What's the periopal, what's not? Okay, but also in this situation, we're not really looking at periopal, we're looking at the position of the back of the foot and how it's repositioned and growing from a different spot. Okay, now, does that involve the periopal? Well, of course, because that periopal is meant to cover the whole back of that foot. Okay. And so it can be pulled down under, it can be mistaken for frog. Many things can happen, but what we're really focusing on is the internal foot, the position of the foot, and how it's growing the capsule, how it's growing the frog. Where is the frog at? Anatomically, is it in the correct position? And so how can we tell from looking at the back? You know, because we were looking at this picture here. Okay, what's going on there? How can we tell? So we're going to look at this foot from the side and look above the hairline at the cartilage. And we're going to look at Chester's foot at the cartilage from when his foot was totally corrected or close to it 5 weeks later from doing this trim after not being trimmed for 9 months, 8 months, 8 months at least. Okay, so I'm going to go and get these pictures together. Just a second here. I got to save this one picture. A second. Save changes. Yes. We'll put you under Chester again. Chester. Oops. Okay, I had to save that picture. So, okay, so just hold on a second. I'll put something up here for you to look at while I'm putting these together. Okay, well, just kind of study those. Okay. Well, I get pictures of these feet. Save image. And Chester. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, for time's sake, I'm not going to turn these. Usually I like to turn them around where where did you go? Where they're facing the same direction for you compare, but I don't think I really need to do that. I think you'll be able to tell the difference, the stark difference, even though they're also not at the same angle. Well, here, we'll just do that like that. Hold on. Okay. One is a colt, one is a older horse, but you'll still be able to see the difference because I can also show you a painting, which I showed last week, of a young horse of similar age where the back of his feet were humongous. Okay, I'm going to take a picture now. Okay, now new share. All right, okay. So here you see the difference between the two horses. You see the cartilage there? That's one way that you know it's different because now the whole frog corium and the back of the foot and the bulbs have been displaced and pulled under the foot to where that triangular area that's supposed to be up behind the foot, behind here, just a minute. That triangular area that goes like this, that's supposed to be up behind the foot, is now underneath the foot here. Okay, so that part is under here, like so. And then the other part that goes underneath here this way, see, however that would work. So now this is just all one, pretty much like that. Okay, now look up here. Again, we have to look above the hairline because this is a major part of the foot. Okay, right here you have this pulled down like that. Now do you see the difference?
Yep.
So as this was taking place, in this case, this horse is growing, okay, but she's being told to trim the heels out. And so all the back of the foot is forming to that instead of expanding the way it should. You know, ideally, he'd be way out like this, you know, that's probably not a very good drawing, but you kind of get that cartilage should be clear out here. Well, how much, I mean, how is that affecting the tendons and the function of all the rest of the anatomy when you're taking away all this? What about the, yeah, and what about that navicular bone that's in here? Instead of this digital cushion, because look here, okay, so you have this frog here now that should be up like this. See? That would have been the frog up behind. And this, all this digital cushion is held up into place here. And when this pastern descends, that digital cushion is all forced up under into here under the navicular bone and the deep digital flexor tendon. And the pastern descends on this big lump of fat that's being compression loaded in between the cartilages and descending onto this rubbery frog stay, which is descending, being pushed to the ground, but hard. It don't want to get pushed down. None of this wants to be pushed down. And the whole time it's being forced down, it's pushing back up and it's helping these tendons spring back up. See, but you've taken it all away. There's nothing here anymore. See, the pastern is descending into nothing. See? Okay. See, you see why these are so great, to be able to get together like this, because you guys ask questions so that we can start figuring out how to explain this, how to define it, how to see it, how to understand it. See, and and the detriment of to the horse of what is going on. I mean, we can see why they go unsound at such a young age. You know, how old did you say your horse was when he got navicular, was diagnosed with navicular? 5?
5. Yeah.
See? Okay, so now
Is it
go ahead.
on that cartilage? This is Janet. I finally made it back.
Hi.
So, hi. On the healthy cartilage versus the one on the right, which is unhealthy, you're going to have a really different feeling when you press down on it too.
I bet
Like
so.
when you press with your thumb, you know, the one on the left is going to have, you know, you're going to feel some squishiness. You're going to feel some softness. The one on the right, when you push down, it's going to be like a rock.
Yeah, I imagine so, because it's just stretched to the nubbin, you know.
Nothing there. Yeah, it's nothing there at that point. So it's going to be rock hard. So
Yeah.
when you want to try to figure out what's going on, all you have to do is press back there.
Yep, that
And
too.
you can tell whether it's cartilage or the cartilage is not there.
Well, and another thing that happens is this is why these turn to bone. This is what turns to side bone. See, your this cartilage is all in here. See? And so your coffin bone, which is over here that the cartilage is connected on, all this starts turning to bone up into here because all the pressure being put on it. Okay,
Correct.
let's see here. Let me undo the drawings, save this picture. This is a great example. Now this was the way the horse was then. What do you got now? Do you have a picture now of this part of the foot and what has gone on here? Hello?
Hello.
No?
No, my internet went down.
Oh, okay. Do you still have this horse?
No, unfortunately, I don't. But I figured where he is, and hopefully, I'll go to see him and see what happened to his feet. Would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that'd be great study there.
I don't know who was trimming him or what happened to him. I just know the owner. I know how to track the owner. So
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, great. That'd be awesome.
I'll take a set of pictures for all of us.
Okay, that'll be wonderful. Let's see. What am I going to name this? Oh, that goes in Chester file too. Okay, Chester file 42. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our other horse, but before we do that, I'm going to show you some pictures of some cartilage here in a dissection I did, so that you can really drive home what happens to the cartilage here. Let's see. Undersea cartilage. Oh, I hope I can find it. Cartilages. Oh, here it is. Okay, dokie. Okay, and well, I'll just show you all these pictures here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, screen share, more screen share. Okay, so this is the foot off the horse where I showed you where the cartilage had been pulled underneath, and then I let the foot set a few days and the cartilage returned up. You know, and so this was well, that wasn't done on 21. That was done like 8 years ago, but I moved the picture over here. Okay, and this is a foot that I did a couple months ago, that I skinned the actual foot itself. Usually I will skin, I soak them, take the hair off of them so you can just see the skin on the leg. And then the skin on the foot, I've never removed the skin on the foot. I've taken it apart in pieces, but I've never removed the skin on the foot. Oh, who could that be? Oh, well, nope, sorry. I told you it had to go several hours. Okay. Okay, so this is the whole foot with the skin removed. And you can see that the cartilage is extended out here. Here's where your heel buttress grows, right under here. Okay, this is the well, no, not the whole heel buttress. It grows back here. This is the sole platform back here. And part of it might be the heel buttress. Now I'm getting confused. But anyway. Okay, so this shows a good correct back of the foot that with the periopal up here, the frog stay grows up here between the bulbs. Here's that same foot. Remember I told you the triangular area that is up behind the foot? See, now the frog grows right under there, but this darkened pigmentation is periopal corium that grows periopal skin. And so it grows this layer. Well, you can see it right over here, right over the back of the frog and the bulbs here. Okay, so this is just showing the periopal corium right here. I thought that was pretty interesting. I was able to separate it this time without at all tearing the coronary band. But you see how all this is so close together and seamless on the foot. And so then when you take the skin, here's the foot, okay? When you take the skin, like I skinned the skin off the leg, and then I skinned it off of the foot because this is all just skin, okay? And when you skin it all off and you take all the other bones out, this is your foot right here. And your coffin bone ends right here. Remember the foot we looked at where this had all turned to bone? See, this isn't. This is just a really nice foot. This was all just nice cartilage. And so then that's it without skin. There it is with skin. There it is without skin. And then, so here it is where I've taken the foot off. And so here you see your cartilage, how it's extended. Okay, now, when you start pulling the cartilage down as if you were trimming out the heels, what happens is it doesn't want to just pull down and under, it wants to curve in. Now you can see why that'd be so, because it's curved. All right. And so it can go from being this long to being this long because it'll curve right into the center of the foot. Okay. By this time you have false heels. You've got sidewall and deformed bar merged together as a false heel. So see, you see what's going on internally and why it can do this. Here I got all 4 pictures showing you. Here's your foot. Now, when you take the back of the capsule off on a good foot, it kind of falls to the ground. It needs the capsule to support the heel up and the cartilages up correctly where they need to stay. Otherwise, you'd see way more definition to this heel. Okay, so when you skin it and you take all the skin off, which turns to leather, by the way, so we know it's skin, it's not just some sort of internal tissue. Then you get this here, right here. This is the full length. There's your good cartilage and the full length of the foot. And then you see it over here. Again, I'm holding it out. but I could take my finger and push it in just like that. And that is exactly what happens when you're incorrectly trimming heels. Gradually and slowly, it's trimming capsule out, making the capsule smaller. It's moving all those internal parts and the skin and the part that grows the frog. It's moving them into a different position. And so you can look above the hairline at the side of the foot, and if it isn't extended nicely, like you can't really see it because of the way I've got it sitting here. Just a minute. But this is what's happening. And so when you see pictures like, just a minute, I gotta find a picture.
Linda, are you on mute?
Yeah, you're on mute.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for saying something there. Okay, so you saw what I did in that dissection of what that cartilage can do, right? You saw where in the 1 foot, the cartilage had turned to bone. And the coffin bone was flat. And you saw you can take up to at least an inch or more of the foot away. Well, this proves it right here. See this foot here? Okay. See, now this was being restored here. So all these feet got some degree of this going on. And what that periopal does is it acts like it helps try and bind that foot together so the horse is not destroyed. And that's why we have to be careful in releasing it. We have to learn to read it. We have to learn where it is, what it's doing, how it's holding the foot together, how we can release it, how we see. She had to grow in this capsule. You realize there's nothing there. What if this was just boom, released out of this foot? You know, because just a minute, new share. Well, I mean, this looks all clean and nice here. But if this foot, if all this, look at this right here, we're talking about this whole area here compressed into a smaller capsule. Now, if I was just to tear the capsule off of this part of the foot, it'd be a bloody mess, right? So you don't want to release these so quickly that they're not released. You know, you're growing that capsule in and it's releasing the foot at the same time, hopefully. Okay. Okay, so now to end, we're going to go back and look at our hoof evaluation foot. I gotta find where I'm at. Let's see. I'm lost. Hold on. Okay, Amanda. why it's not my, oh, am I, just a minute here. Oh, okay, here I am, just a minute. New share. Okay, hold on. Alrighty. Okay, so just a second here. I gotta check something out. Okay, so Amanda, now let's look, having gone through all this, let's look at your horse's feet again. Just go through the pictures, okay? Let's see, am I on there? Yes, I am. Okay, here we can look at the side and we can tell that the cartilages are pulled down. They're, you know, real cartilages are more flat on the top. They're never rounded down or pulled down behind the foot. Let me get a different color here. Instead of being pulled down like this, okay, they would be more like this. And your capsule would be bigger and stuff. And then as this is coming up, as you're adding, allowing this to grow, you do want to cut some of this periopal a little bit there and start with the back of the foot, releasing the frog, because as this is all under pressure, it wants to grow out, it wants to be released anyway. And so if we can just loosen things up and create new boundaries as the hoof growth is coming in here, it will release and allow, it will add capsule into the foot here, and it will allow this to be released and come up this way. And so you're releasing it and it's growing, and the hoof growth is staying in at the top and filling in, and it'll get to look a lot of times like your heels have run forward and your bulbs are sticking out the back. But that's because as you release this part of the foot, then the capsule growth will have to also catch up with it and fill in. So it's kind of a combination of both. Clear all drawings. So just a second here. I'm having a hard time finding stuff. Okay. So your bars, let's do a mapping on your bars, because it's very important to make sure your bars don't get into a state where they're just holding they're going to hold your false heel right here. You know, they're growing from a deformed position under the foot there. And so when you do these bars, okay, you want to come into about here and you come in up to that heel right there. And so you're going to have to take off all this and make sure that you're reforming this heel at all times and keeping these bars down to where they should be. Otherwise, you know, the arch is one of the strongest structures there is, right? What happens a lot of times on these bars, we're trimming them to the distortion because we don't realize they're out of shape. And so you see your bar here, how it goes like this. See, what you do is you've actually created an arch there. And that's just going to hold that bar right there.
So I just like flatten that out with my knife, just kind of knife those sections out.
You actually have to see, you'll find out that this is bar grown up and laying over the sole. You're going to have to reform your heel right here and take your bar down like that. This one, just a minute here. we have to keep the bar boundaries. First of all, these bars do not bear weight. Okay, what they do is they help keep the form of the cartilage of the heel, and they attach to the back of the coffin bone right here. Coffin bone's right in here. They attach the back of the coffin bone to become a brace for the heel buttress right there. And so you're going to want to come in here. You're going to keep defining this heel here, because otherwise you'll get this funky nubbin like that. Okay. Okay, so you're going to want to come in here. So this, wait a minute. And cut all this bar down. And probably too, when you do, you'll find your sole be a little thin there, because whenever the bar grows and covers the sole, it's thin. But you have to keep bringing these bars over. I've noticed the greatest change when I change this whole bar thing, because they're really back here. Okay, but as the heels are trimmed out, this is what they do. See? So you've got to, like the true bar ain't even here at all, but gradually you're going to release these bars so they can release the heel, so the heel can grow in and move back. Otherwise, this bar here would keep your heel right here. It will not let it move.
Okay.
And so you want to keep, see, if I was right here and I come in under this heel right here, so that would take off. I would come in here and take all that down. Lift all that off your sole. I mean, you can tell it doesn't really belong there.
Linda,
See? Yeah.
that means that where the bar connects to the heel buttress area, the back of the wall right there, yeah, you would have to make a little separation there.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually do. It's not the real bar heel. This is sidewall. This is not
Right.
even buttress yet.
Right.
Okay. So they've just merged together to kind of form a false heel. And so, yeah, you have to kind of redefine this and kind of take that down a little bit there.
So in order to prevent that heel, the point of the heel where the wall joins the bar from collapsing forward, you kind of have to take that down a little too, wouldn't you?
This area here.
Right. Well, I mean, the actual point of the corner of the heel. Right there.
I
Yeah.
don't think you have to do that. Everybody thinks they have to do that, but he'll wear it off himself.
Yeah, and seeing those used to be in closer.
Okay.
I've gradually opened the back of that foot up, because
Okay.
his heels used to be pinched in quite a bit more than what you're seeing here. So yeah, it was, his heels almost came almost all the way around that back side of his foot.
Okay. Well, so he's feeling better just because of that.
Yeah.
And see, you haven't got any severely overgrown bar here or anything, but you just have to clean them up and kind of keep them like so, so that this can keep adding wall in as you go in here, and then you kind of want to watch this kind of stuff, because this can become an issue as well, getting a little too high or whatever. But
he's due for trim. I've kind of kept him on a 4 or 5 week schedule.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, so this here is this is week 4, so he's due for trim next week.
See, the thing we have is there's no perfect deal we can do, because it's corrective.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't answer every question about what to do with this nubbin because that nubbin shouldn't even be there. I don't always know the response of every single thing. Because I've tried lots of different things myself, and yeah. So, but I do know that you gotta keep these bars down. This is not the true bar anyway. This is bent bar growing in a weird place. See? So as this is happening and as you're keeping this frog trimmed, eventually you're going to see it do some funny things and start releasing and growing way better frog and stuff. And then you're just going to start seeing some real changes because, okay, once you start getting this frog state to move and grow back up where it's supposed to be, it's like and letting the frog, release and move because you're trimming it enough to where it can move internally. Then it's going to be like a jack that starts jacking up the back of your foot, like a hydraulic jack, like, well, then what's that going to do? That's going to start helping your heels because you got to remember that your heel is actually pushed up in your foot and it's growing all this at the wrong angle anyway. See? So as you start getting a good frog, as this back of the foot starts coming up and that true frog stay starts growing, it'll start pushing the back of that foot up into the foot, which is going to push the heels down so that they can grow from a better angle. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Wait, she's going to be trimming in about a week.
Mm-hmm.
As she says. So go back to the back of the frog, the bottom of that triangle.
Right here?
Where it looks like a space. Should that all get cleaned up when she trims this time?
I would like,
It
clean
looks like
this
it's
out
raised.
nice. Huh?
It looks like it's raised at the back of where you've got that little white triangle back in there, all of that back in there.
Yeah,
to clean that frog up.
That's periopal. This is all periopal
Right.
covering the back of the foot, which you don't want to take off there and stuff, but you can clean this up. You can clean all
Right.
that. Yeah, and then you want to make sure. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because this is all kind of still new to me because, like I said, this horse did not have any frogs for the longest time, and so this is the most developed in his lifetime that he's even had frogs.
Well, and
So-
it's looking good and stuff. So
Yeah, so it's still learning and knowing
Yeah.
how much to take and what to take and what not
yeah,
to take,
believe
and
me.
trial and error.
Yep, I know. See, we're all charting a journey for people to come after us. This is all learning. I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't know everything, but I do know more than I used to know. Okay. And I know some things for sure. And one of the things I know for sure is that all barefoot trimming is based on one dead wild horse that wore its heels out, and they determined all their anatomy and their decisions and how to trim on looking at the inside of a deformed foot. Okay. Leave you with Bracy Clark, a statement from Bracy Clark. Just a minute, gotta find it.
This foot tube, real quick, is pretty round versus oval.
Mm-hmm. But
So should she go back and really look at her measurements from the dorsal to the 2 inches over when she's trimming again?
well,
To see how long
what you're looking at there is he's wearing his toe And a lot of times we don't bevel the pillars as much as we do the toe. So some of that roundness is just from growth of the wall. And I don't, until you're getting more of the back of that foot unbound and more growing in there, you're going to have some different kinds of distortion in the toe and stuff like that. You can work on foot shape, but you have to make sure of what you're looking at, because we can mistake one thing for another. Like we could mistake just overgrowth on the side walls for that the foot isn't the right shape or whatever, when in reality it's just maybe some overgrowth. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. No, I'm just looking at it from the bottom. That's all, because it's the only side we see right now.
Yeah, and see, but it was fresh on my mind because I was just talking to somebody about mistaking one thing for another, and that you can start getting people like, he's already got a tiny hoof capsule, and so if you go trying to correct a lot of shape in the front of it, you could get it to contract more from the front and come back. So some of this stuff will correct as you release in the back of that foot. You can do more correction on the front, like where horn tubules are, like say run forward into the sides of the toe and making the sides of the toe look round or square, which sometimes happens too. You need more in the back of the foot before you can correct too much of that.
Okay.
And stuff. Okay, Bracy Clark, where are you? Bracy Clark. Now, if you go to Bracy Clark on the Internet Archive, one thing that's interesting to look up is frog pressure. Okay, and the doctrine of frog pressure and how it was crippling and killing horses all over the place back then, which is what it's doing today too, because say they look at that foot that's been all trimmed out and they say, oh, well, they must have to have frog pressure all the time. So let's trim the heels down to where the frog is touching the ground. Now, I was going to tell you about something that's going on in farriery. Like I said, there was a battle going on. And then because they're losing customers, farriers started adopting barefoot trims. And but at the same time, they got the false doctrine in their head of the frog pressure. And so they started trimming heels even lower to make up for the fact they had to put a shoe on the horse and they still wanted him to have frog pressure. So you got a lot of that going on now too. Okay, so new share here, and this will be it. Who would think you could sit around and talk about hooves this long, huh? And just barely touch the surface. Okay, this is what Bracy Clark said. I need to put a picture of that one wild foot that wore its heels out here. But this is the farrier version. Look at the cartilage up here. See, it's like this part of the foot does not exist to these people over the centuries. The eye soon gets accustomed to deformity and does not discover it. And you think deformity is the normity. And this is what he said. This error, the fact that you weren't recognizing something was deformed, it was that embarrassed and misled me in all my first experiments. Now, what a man is that he admitted that. See, most people try and cover it up. So this error, it was that embarrassed and misled me in all my first experiments on what I conceived to be the natural foot, on what he conceived to be the true foot, on what he conceived to be the real anatomy. See, this is exactly what has deceived them. During several years, so this went on for a number of years, and completely obscured my views of the true nature, completely obscured his views of the true anatomy of these things. And my predecessors also, as the general tenor of their works will indicate. In other words, once you do know some truth and you go back, you can see how screwed up people were. Now, he still had some error because he never saw a true foot. And if he did, he might not have recognized it. Okay. And so he talks about frog pressure, the doctrine of frog pressure, how it's killing horses and people all over the place. And, but then again, he really did not understand the true anatomy of the frog, like what we are learning here, and where that frog stay is really supposed to be in the anatomy of the foot. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
Big thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Linda, for everything.
Goodbye. Let us out of here.
Yep.
Excellent
Thank you.
information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, you guys are all wonderful. And everything you're doing is going to help people down the line. Okay, we'll see you next week.
See you
Bye
next-
now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Not with me and Carol.
Let's see here.